I'm Brian C. This is Jason. On today's video, we're going to be talking about a little bit over the topic of if you are traveling for work, what it's like to be single, and which is my side, and then the wife version on the opposite side. Of course, he's seen more about having a girlfriend also. If you or on one side or the other, you can have a very different and unique experience other than me. So we're going to get started with what it's like to be married and to see that side of being gone, say, all week, regardless of what your job is. You'll have a very different experience. So we were talking a little bit earlier about the different experiences, and it is very different. My version is going to be a little bit different. We'll get to that in a second. I just wanted to start the video talking about a little bit about when you first started instead of going from where you drive to your house and you go down the street to, say, an office or a warehouse or wherever it is, to being gone all week while having a wife. So what initially happened when you first got your job traveling for work? I know you said it wasn't a big impact, but how long have you been married though?
Well, 23 years, but 21 when I first started, so over 2 decades. So I was already into my comfort zone. I could fully trust the other person, and vice versa. So I didn't have the problems at home that I had to worry about while I'm on the road, because you got to leave your problems at home. When you're out of town for work, there's no point in getting upset of what's going on at home, because you can't do anything about it. The only person that's going to hurt is you.
Right. So say very different from being newly married to being married for multiple years. Yeah, you can trust the person, which is pretty big. I mean, I ask a lot of
Well, nowadays, for sure.
right.
Yeah.
Ask some military guys that go overseas, what their girlfriends are doing. Yeah. Again, that's another set of very different experiences in and of itself. Which is good. So some people do have that relationship that's, say, 20 years, 23, 25, that they've been together for so long that it's not a big change. But you were talking about you've seen other guys with girlfriends and how it impacts them. Can you talk for a second on one of the experiences?
I've seen multiple. They go out of town, they're worried that their girlfriend's cheating on them, and that's all they can think about. So, it consumes them, so they can't do their job, for one. I've had people, just leave in the middle of the job, catch a Greyhound bus, and go home because they were so worried about what's going on at home.
So if you have short-term relationships, or you're just in it, you're just starting it, you will be hindered. I think that would be the good takeaway. It depends on how you feel. Like, is it more important than making money? Is the opportunity to, say, evolve that relationship into something bigger?
Well,
Is it really worth it for you?
Well, if you leave and you go out of town, and you have to worry about what the person is doing at home, back home where you're not at while you're gone, then maybe you don't have the best relationship.
So something to think about before getting into a job where you travel. If it's multiple days, and you really have to worry, is it a relationship you're actually going to want? Do you want? I mean, is it your dream to do? To travel for work? It was mine. That's probably why I'm still single, or I'm not married without kids. When it was my dream, I actually started off, it was just like going out of town with friends. It wasn't hard. I mean, it was hard work, but getting adjusted to it was the easiest. I took to it like a duck to water. Maybe that's the reason, because I didn't have someone here. Um, Probably if I was married, or me personally engaged, or have a girlfriend, they would probably not want to stick around. Some of the women I like, probably not the best of ideas for your average guy. Um, but it was sort of like getting paid to just go explore almost. I mean, it had a magical, I think that's why it's been almost 5 years now and I'm still doing it, because I couldn't think of doing anything else.
You definitely get to go see things that you otherwise never would have, and get paid along the way.
Yeah. So we have 50 states in the U.S., at least for now. We might have more later. Hopefully that's not impacting anybody overseas, but I've been to 32. We actually started making maps, which is good. But yeah, there's a lot of benefits. But as far as relationships, about once a year, I'll end up hooking up with somebody. I mean, I'm not completely alone. I mean, well, while you're single, um, the first and second year, I just met somebody and we hooked up, uh, just out of the blue. I mean, you never know what's going to happen um, on the single side. You just keep yourself open to every possibility. If you run across someone, uh, someone unique and someone different, and you just click, it's going to work out. The long distance relationships won't really work out exactly um, over time, but I mean, in the short term, as long as nothing bad happens, it's a pretty good time. Uh, it,
If you are in a relationship though, and you go to work out of town for multiple days at a time, before you even consider accept taking that job, you better make sure 100% that the person you're with, you can trust them, and you have just a stable relationship. No worries. Because if you go out of town with even just a little hint, either one of you jealous, or that thing, it's going to blow up, and you're not going to have that job very long. You're going to have to pick between your relationship or your job.
yeah,
So you make 100% sure that you have nothing to worry about when you leave out of town.
yeah. It can be a hard decision. I've had many opportunities, and I passed them up. I knew something was waiting, something more substantial for myself overall, that I knew I wanted to do, but it's a sacrifice. The job's extremely easy in that regard when you don't have anyone else to worry about. You might have a house or an apartment you can lock up, but when you leave, you don't have to worry about, say, your wife or husband or your boyfriend or girlfriend cheating on you while you're gone. You just have time to focus on you and your career. I mean, some people aren't made for that. I know guys that make it work, that have girlfriends or wives, but they're constantly talking to them. Like, you're going to be back and forth. Like, half your time driving is going to be spent placating your other half, calming them down, keep them off the edge. Like, no, I'm not doing this. Or you're constantly FaceTiming them. Yeah, look, there's nobody else here, And to me, just the overall deal wasn't worth it.
But if you have to do that to begin with, then your relationship probably isn't as good as you think it is.
Yeah, yeah. It's a mixed bag, in the sense of there are way too many options. If you're going to have a girlfriend or have a wife or a boyfriend or a husband, um, you have to be on the same page. Usually that comes with time. Like, mostly, like, the females, it's just like they're so used to you, they know you're not gonna do anything. Sort of like my parents. They've been married for longer than I've been alive. That when he went out of town, everything was perfectly fine. they've been together so long. When he actually started making more money, going from say Kentucky to Tennessee or Pennsylvania or wherever it was, there wasn't a problem. Um, so I guess that would be one of the keys: time, for your significant other. If you have anything to take out of this, it would probably be like this: if you're in a short-term relationship, uh, yeah, just to have that little bit of buffer in your relationship would be the best idea, versus the newlyweds. And on mine, being single and traveling, the life is a little more boring. It's a little more lonely. Um, there's not a whole lot of people you can talk to outside like your friends and family. Of course, like what things we do need is you know, they're not that far away. But if you don't want to risk, all the drama and getting in trouble being single, it's best just to keep focusing on building up your career. And maybe you do meet that one person. I mean, I haven't. I probably never will. But again, I'm fine. I've got so much other stuff that it's not really that big of an issue. You just kind of have to find, on the single side, find something that that the hobby, the entertainment. Like I have plenty of stuff to do. There's with the invention of the internet and computers, different types of technology, just like what we're doing now, the cameras. Uh, there's there's plenty of stuff to do to keep yourself occupied, studying, learning more about whatever trade you are doing. That would be my advice: is if you're single and you want to get into the traveling for work, just focus on yourself. I'll have some videos too about where you want to start. Like if I was starting back at square one, some of the other jobs I'll go into more detail. Here pretty soon I'm gonna have some different video equipment, and hopefully I can kind of bundle picture and the internet together here pretty soon. But I think as far as today, I think that was a decent overall view of a little bit of what it's like to be single and what it's like to be married or with a girlfriend. At least here in the United States. I mean, things might be different overseas. I don't know. I haven't actually been out of the country. We've been on lockdown since last year. We can't go anywhere. So I don't know. Maybe it's different. Maybe we'll have some interviews with some people or something from different countries in the future. But we'll see. But I think that's a good stopper for this video. Okay, that's it for this video. Traveling for work, having a relationship and not having a relationship. A little bit about the differences. If we think about anything more into the future, anything that might be able to help you, we'll make another video unless somebody wants something specific. Until then, I'm Brian.
Jason.
All right, we'll see y'all in the next video.